What's good, y'all? Listen, I don't got the robe on today. I don't got the bonnet on today. But we are reacting to something. We are going to react to something, all right? So hold on. I got to flip my camera real quick. I got to flip the cam. I had to flip the cam. All right. I'm pretty late to the party. I'm not going to lie. I'm not late to the party, but I am in terms of making a YouTube video about this topic right now. This is kind of out of the ordinary. I usually talk about basketball and talk about other shit like a 2K and shit. But this runs near and dear to my heart because this is one of my favorite artists of all time, and I'm seeing this nigga get clowned on every social media. Alright, now I'll give my opinion on the matter at the end of the video, but y'all know what the fuck we talking about right now. King Slime, King Sex, Jeffrey Williams, you feel me? Young Thug has some serious allegations coming out. Okay, they're not even allegations. There's a video, a whole 2-hour interrogation video, and this nigga, there's like this for the past 4 days. There's just been audios of him talking shit about some of the best rappers in the game. So I'm gonna get into that first. I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, discuss the matter at hand in terms of like try to catch niggas up to speed on what's going on with Young Thug, okay? Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams. Around 2022, around the beginning of 2022, him and Gunna got arrested and sent to court because I think Young Thug had a motherfucking gun in his car, right? Had the gun in his car, booked him over there. They was thinking, okay, I take the gun charge, boom, 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 get the lawyer, get out of here. Little do they know, they fighting a fucking RICO. They are fighting a RICO. They got him, Yak Gotti, Duke, the whole YSL. Everybody in YSL, RICO. Stop playing with me, right? So Young Thug, Gunna, Yak, Duke, Funk, all these niggas in the RICO. Only nigga not in the RICO is Lil Key. Rest in peace, Lil Key, right? Boom. Young Thug in that bitch fighting for his life. He like, I'm gonna hold it down. I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna do none of that. I'm real slime, nigga. I'm real blood out here, nigga. Atlanta, nigga. We do what I gotta do. Young Thug went over here, took an Alfred plea. An Alfred plea is when you take the plea deal and none of the fucking things you say in that statement can be used against other people fighting the RICO. In his Alfred plea agreement, he had to agree that YSL was a gang and that motherfuckers was committing crimes in furtherance of the gang, and that the gun in the car that he was in with Young Thug is not his gun. He said yes, ma'am, to all 3 of those questions and got sent home. Now, is that ratting? I will get to that at the end of the video, okay? I will give my opinion on that at the end of the video. Young Thug hears about this, and he's like, oh, Gunna did me wrong. He's calling niggas, calling Dirk, calling 21 Savage, calling Future, calling everybody. He's being like, yo, do not do a song with Gunna. Actively trying to blackball this nigga from the industry because he ratted, right? Ratted, okay? He cooperated with the police, allegedly. All right, it's not even alleged, but it's allegedly. Young Thug gets word of this. He's like, Gunna's a rat, blah, 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 blah. While he's in there fighting the case, arguably, if Young Thug didn't take a motherfucking plea deal, he probably motherfucking would have beat the case himself. You know what I'm saying? The whole case was sloppy in itself. Why? So Woody was an unreliable motherfucking witness. The jurors really wouldn't have anything to convict Young Thug as a gang leader or in the RICO. So, but he was like, nah, I want to go home. I want to fuck Mariah the Scientist. I miss Mariah the Scientist, and I miss my kids. So he was like, give me the plea. I'm gonna take my 15 years probation, and I'm going to go home. That's what he did. So in return, he did the same thing Young Thug did. He took a motherfucking plea deal, right? The plea deal, he had to agree that YSL is a gang, that motherfuckers in the gang were committing crimes in furtherance of the YSL gang. And he also had to admit that the gun was his in the car. But just like Gunna, none of the statements that he said in that plea deal can be used against Yak Gotti or Duke, who were actively, or I think Yak Gotti was, he was actively still fighting this RICO. So he does the same thing Gunna does, but nobody calls him a rat. Everybody's calling Gunna a rat, though, because it's fucking Gunna, right? Nigga, it's Gunna. Young Thug put Gunna on. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is not looking at it like they both did the same shit. Why we not calling Young Thug rat? They're not doing that because Young Thug just got home and it's King Slime, right? You know what I'm saying? Slack. You know what I'm saying? Wipe your nose, right? It's slime, right? It's fucking Young Thug, right? Boom. Young Thug comes home after 2 years being in prison, took the plea, like I say, took a plea deal, basically admitting that, you know what I'm saying, why this was a game, blah, 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 same shit Gunna did, right? Boom. Comes home saying, fuck Gunna, fuck all the rats, fuck Yak Gotti. If you ratted on me or if you testified against me, fuck you, which nobody did. But he's saying fuck you, right? Fuck Gunna. If you do music with Gunna, you a rat. You calling Kid Cudi a rat. You over here going on a rat tour saying who's a rat, who's not a rat, who's a real nigga, who's not a real nigga, right? Because he's king motherfucking slime, right? He's king slime. He can say what he want, whatever he says goes. Over here telling little baby, yo, don't fuck with these niggas, you know what I'm saying? Whatever Williams says goes, nigga, he's king slime, you with me, blah, blah, blah. All this bullshit going crazy on Twitter for nothing. Nobody gives a fuck about what you're saying on Twitter, Young Thug. Niggas want to hear the music, okay? But he's going crazy, right? It's like God was hearing this shit and he was like, nah, this nigga think he untouchable. We gotta give this nigga some bad karma, something, right? While Young Thug is doing this, right? 4 days ago, I think around 4 or 5 days ago from today, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, y'all can fact check me in the comments. A few days ago, a 2-hour interrogation video of Young Thug cooperating with the police comes out. This video was around 2015, I think. Yeah, around 2015, because that was when Lil Wayne's tour bus got shot up. All right. Lil Wayne's tour bus gets shot up by a guy, allegedly by a guy named Pee Wee. It's not even allegedly. He did the fucking time for it. Pee Wee Roscoe, right? Pee Wee Roscoe goes and shoots up Lil Wayne's tour bus. They arrest Pee Wee Roscoe. He is actively fighting the charges, taking it to trial, blah, blah, blah. The cops call in Young Thug for questioning because they believe that Young Thug paid Pee Wee Roscoe to shoot up Lil Wayne's tour bus. Now, in this 2-hour interrogation video, it starts off with the cops asking Young Thug at least 5 times. 3 or 5 times they asked this nigga, yo, we don't gotta talk. You don't gotta talk to us, gang. Like, if you don't want to give us no motherfucking information, or you do want to talk to us, but you want a lawyer present, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta give us his info. You know what I'm saying? You can go back in your cell and do what you gotta do and do your bid and go home. You don't gotta even get yourself involved in this, right? Young Thug said, nah, I wanna get involved. I wanna talk to you guys. I wanna give you guys all the information. All of it. I'm gonna give you guys all the information because this motherfucker Pee Wee Roscoe, he's a motherfucking demon, man. He's a motherfucking demon. You gotta fucking lock this guy up, bro. This guy's a fucking pain in my ass, bro. Please lock him up, right? Boom. Actively is voluntarily giving these niggas information about Pee Wee Roscoe, about Birdman and Lil Wayne's whole beef, motherfucking asking for bologna sandwiches, and at the end of the motherfucking thing, at the end of the motherfucking interrogation, he seals it by saying, whatever y'all want to know in due time, I will tell y'all. Y'all gotta promise me not to tell nobody. He didn't say that word for word, but that's basically what he said. He said, don't tell nobody that I'm talking to you motherfuckers. And in due time, if any info come out, I will give it to you. It's basically, it's raps, bro. Young Thug was in that motherfucking interrogation video talking, but like I said, I will give my opinion on if Young Thug and Gunna ratted at the end of the video, because we're gonna watch a motherfucking, my boy, what's the nigga name? If y'all didn't understand it from what I'm saying, y'all definitely gonna understand it from what this nigga Zevy's saying, alright? Because that's who we gonna react to today, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Word. I say, no, I'm fan. My fault. You know what I'm saying? I don't even got a list. I don't got no list. My fault, y'all. But listen, we're gonna react to this nigga because this nigga got all the info on everything in life, okay? You know what I'm saying? We fuck with this nigga. So here's what we gonna do. We're gonna
so Young Thug
watch
had
this
a
nigga.
problem. While he was in jail awaiting his RICO charge, he made a couple phone calls. Now, these phone calls have been leaked. That's his problem. Because in these phone calls, he's talking to a lot of people about a lot of things. And he believes that they're private phone calls, so he's sharing his private conversations. And
listen, if you're in a prison system and you think that talking on a prison phone is if you having a private conversation on a prison phone and you think that nobody in the world, especially if you're a celebrity, and you think nobody in the world is ever going to leak that or find that and put it and use it against you, you're an idiot. Bro, don't talk about private matters on a jail phone. What is wrong with yo?
Think about yourself.
Idiots.
Think about private
Niggas
conversations you've had in the past when you're talking to somebody really, really close to you.
Fucking dumbasses.
Some of that audio you don't want leaked out. Well, in Young Thug's case, he's talking about some very sensitive information, like he got no care in the world. Now, to go a little deeper, there's actually 2 aspects to Young Thug's problem. Listen to this next part closely. There are the jail leaks that we just talked about, and there's another leak. Now, why I call this two separate incidents is because they happen at separate times, okay? All the jail calls that were leaked happened when he was facing his RICO charge, okay? The other leak where he's talking to police happened way before he was arrested for a RICO charge. That's important. Now, during the jail calls, he's just a little gossipy. Remember, he talking to his friends, his homies. He really think, hey, this ain't gonna get out. So he basically saying stuff like, Gucci Mane, maybe he's soft. He's saying, now, keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is clipped. And why I say that is because specifically for the Gucci Mane example, I'm telling you, the clip going around is Young Thug calls Gucci Mane soft. But honestly, there's a little more to it than that. Young Thug is more or less saying Gucci Mane was mad at somebody. Gucci Mane went to jail. Gucci Mane got out of jail and he stopped being mad at that person. Gucci Mane is soft for not being mad at that person anymore. Maybe he went to jail and turned soft. Now, I bring that up not to defend Young Thug because he called him soft still, but I want you to understand.
Yeah, you can't defend Young Thug on that because like the nigga said, at the end of the day, the motherfucker called the nigga that put him on to the game soft when all he was trying to do was just do legal business, bro. This nigga got out of the motherfucker. This nigga Gucci Mane got out of prison and didn't want to do that street shit no more. But that street shit literally got him 2 years, almost his whole life in prison. Nigga, he had to kill a nigga because he's in that life. You don't want to be in that life no more. He making legal money doing this rap shit and managing niggas' careers. So he wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to put street politics in front of business, bro. Business is business. You know what I'm saying? That's what you can't call a nigga soft for that. That he's not soft. He's smart. You can't call a nigga soft.
There's
for
still
that,
more context to this stuff. It's not, he's
now, when it comes to him, you know what I'm saying, signing an artist and running his label, that's a different story. We can make a whole different video about that. But besides him, you know what I'm saying, he's making legal money. He's making a lot of money off of niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up just coming out talking smack about people. You know what I'm saying? All that to say, most of Young Thug's jail calls are surrounding that. It's just, he's been a little messy, nothing too crazy. Now, there's one call in particular that gives a little insight into Atlanta as a whole. Young Thug is speaking to his close friend,
the infamous 21
Young Thug
Savage
is speaking
jail
about
calls.
what Gunna did during the RICO trial. If you don't know what a RICO trial is, it's basically they gather up members of a group and they categorize the whole group as a criminal organization. Okay, so they pull in Gunna, they pull in Young Thug, they pull in a bunch of people. They want to label them as a criminal organization. To label them as a criminal organization, you have to have people in that organization say this is a criminal organization. Now, usually in RICO trial, police and the feds, they're just going for the person at the top.
And before, because I think I know where he's gonna go with this. Before, you know what I'm saying, he goes into detail about, you know what I'm saying, like I said, these motherfuckers is trying to motherfucking prove that YSL is a motherfucking record label, right? That was the whole motherfucking thing with Young Thug. Young Thug was trying to prove that this is not a gang, this is a YSL label, this is a label, this is for music, period. This is for music when, nigga, they have ample evidence, like 100% evidence to prove that YSL is a motherfucking gang, which it is a gang, all right? But here's what niggas don't understand. Here's what Young Thug, even Gunna, here's what the whole YSL don't understand. It is not illegal, I repeat, it is not illegal to be in a gang. I could be, bro, I'm not, but I'm just saying hypothetically. My nigga, I could be a motherfucking Crip. I could motherfucking have this whole motherfucking room blue. Crip walk in this bitch wearing blue rags, all that. I could go outside wearing blue rags, all that. I'm not saying I will because I'm not Crip. I'm not. But I'm saying hypothetically, I could walk outside wearing all blue jacket Crip in front of cops. And they're not going to arrest me because it is not illegal to be in a gang. But it becomes, you know what I'm saying, when I start committing crimes in furtherance of that Crip gang, then the cops are going to go after my big homie or go after who's my general, you feel me? Then that's when they're going to start trying to get niggas into the courtrooms. When there's a bunch of niggas within a Crip set or a blood set that start committing crimes in furtherance of that blood set, then that's when it becomes a RICO or that's when they start arresting niggas. You know what I'm saying? But if I just go outside and I'm just a Crip, like I just joined the Crips and I'm just doing positive shit, I'm not even doing crimes, they're not gonna look my way. I'm just a Crip. Just like Gunna, he's just slime. He's just YSL. Just like Lil Keed, he's YSL, but he ain't committing crimes. Until y'all niggas start committing crimes, That's when it becomes a RICO. And Young Thug, you were committing crimes, my nigga. You was out there wilding, getting niggas' mom shot up and rapping about it, bro. You was over here. The whole case was about Donovan McNutt. You allegedly got Donovan McNutt killed and started this whole beef with YFN and YSL and actively separated the whole Atlanta. Having niggas try to blackball YFN Lucci and anybody that work with YFN Lucci, Rich Homie Quan, nigga, Young Thug not gonna fuck with you. Nigga, like you actively separating the whole Atlanta community when at one point all y'all niggas was connected. It's kind of fucked up. But once again, I'm gonna say it again. That's what Young Thug and Gunna got fucked up. Being in a gang is not illegal. Just because they said YSL is a gang does not mean that that's gonna motherfucking hurt the case. They're trying to prove that they were committing crimes in furtherance of the gang. That's the problem. They're not trying to find out if YSL is a gang. They're trying to find out if the motherfuckers are committing crimes. Everybody named Mama knows YSL is a gang. Everybody in their fucking mama knows YSL is a gang. So Young Thug coming in there with that motherfucking idea that, hey, we're gonna prove that this shit is a label. Nigga, that shit was stupid. That's why Brian still ain't do that shit. Or he did that shit for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Nigga, you gotta keep it a buck. You gotta keep it a buck, bro. You gotta keep it a buck.
So they can go for the mafia
I fuck with Young Thug, but he's moving stupid. He's moving retarded, bro.
Young Thug. So they gathered up Gunna and a bunch of people from YSL and said, look, all you need to tell us is YSL, Young Thug's record label, is a criminal organization. All of y'all walk away. Now, if every single person in YSL said this is not a criminal organization, everyone walks away. But that's not realistic, right? So their lawyers are scrambling together and saying, boy, if you don't say it's a criminal organization. Gunna said it's a criminal organization. Gunna and multiple people in YSL said it is a criminal organization. So Young Thug's case was kicked off. So Young Thug in jail after this happens. He's talking to 21 Savage and he's saying he cannot believe Gunna did that. He's very upset. 21 Savage telling him, well, I don't think Gunna did it to hurt you. It just made sense for Gunna to do that. Young Thug says he doesn't care. It broke his heart.
What the fuck, yo?
A very good point. He says, well, didn't you tell your brother to do the same thing as Gunna to say why?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. He's mad at Gunna for taking the plea when he told Funk to take the same fucking plea. He told Funk to take the same plea Young Thug did. So why the fuck you mad at Young Thug? And why the fuck you mad at Gunna but not mad at Funk? When Funk literally wrote the shit down, he wrote it down on paper. All Gunna did was say yes, man. Funk shit was 10 times worse. I think motherfucker wrote it down on paper, my nigga.
So we can get 0 years. Young Thug denies this, but Young Thug actually did tell his brother to do that. So it seems that Young Thug saw the reasoning as to why somebody would say it's a criminal organization, but he just felt hurt hearing Gunna say it. He expected more loyalty from Gunna. Now, I say this because remember in the beginning of this video, we said Young Thug basically has two problems. His jail calls were leaked, and an earlier recording of him talking to police were leaked. Well, people are basically saying, look, you're upset at Gunna for talking to police. Everybody was calling him a snitch. Young Thug, you calling him a snitch. But you was talking to police too. What's going on? Now, let's figure out what's going on together, because here's where things start to get wicked. Now, first things first, Young Thug's conversation with police is way before this RICO situation.
Yeah, that's another thing. Some niggas think that shit was during the RICO.
Lil Wayne's tour bus had just recently been shot up by a man named Pee Wee Roscoe. Yep. Basically, police were trying to connect some dots, okay? So they bring in Young Thug and they tell him, Young Thug, Tugga, as some may refer you as, you don't need to talk to us. They stress to Tugga that he does not need to speak to them. They stress this because they don't want all this information they have to be locked down later by a lawyer saying Young Thug didn't have his lawyer present, all that. So they tell him, you don't have to speak to us. Young Thug says, they say, you really don't have to speak to us. They say it like 5 times, I'm telling you. Young Thug says, no, I want to. And this is when people say, oh, there you go, Young Thug. You could have just got your lawyer. You could have just walked out, which Young Thug absolutely should have done. Because side note, police brought him in because his name, Young Thug's name, was connected to Pee Wee Roscoe, Lil Wayne, to the whole shooting situation. They already booked Pee Wee Roscoe. They already had evidence against Pee Wee Roscoe. They just wanted to see if they can get Young Thug too. The police kicked things off by being real cool, you know? Our officer goes, man, I listen to your music. Thug goes, really? He says, yeah, man, you want some food? You hungry? Thug goes, yeah, I can use some food. He said, get my boy some food. That's thugger. Nah, but seriously though, you know Pee Wee Roscoe? Thug goes, I mean, they said, write that down. Thug said, officer said, no, don't worry about that. That's just a formality. And therein lies the issue. You see, the problem with Young Thug speaking to police and people speaking to police without lawyers present is because you don't know what the police are looking for.
That's another thing, bro. And I don't know how Young Thug ain't, but here's the thing. Young Thug voluntarily motherfucking talked to the cops. So he wanted to talk to these motherfuckers, but here's my thing. If you're a criminal, all right, you should have in the back of your mind, right, bro, the cops are not your friends. They literally tell you, when the first thing they tell you when they're about to interrogate you is that you have the right to an attorney, you have a right to a lawyer, you have a right to have a lawyer present with you as we're talking to you, and anything you say can and will be used against you, keywords, against you in court. These motherfucking cops are asking you questions against your favor. When a motherfucking cop in an interrogation room tells you they're trying to help you, they're fucking lying. They are lying. They are fucking lying. It says in the Miranda rights, anything that you say to this cop can and will be used against you in court. So why the fuck are you, an active criminal, voluntarily talking to cops? Why? And like, I'm gonna explain why I am upset, because I'm not a street dude. I honestly don't give a fuck. But I'm gonna explain why I am a little upset about this at the end of the video.
At this point, the police seem to be looking for a general framework as to what they wanted to work with of the goings on in Atlanta, in a sense, to build a sort of a file. It's hard to know why police are asking certain questions. For example, at one point, Young Thug seems to be trying to help Pee Wee Roscoe. He says, I thought Pee Wee Roscoe...
You didn't help the nigga. The nigga still got 10 years in prison. Like, what the fuck? How you gonna help a nigga that... You didn't help the nigga at all. If they were able to use your motherfucking words or motherfucking testimony or an interrogation video in Pee Wee Roscoe's case, Pee Wee Roscoe would have been fucked. But you're lucky that they couldn't. You're lucky that they couldn't. If they did, they would have been... Bro, Pee Wee would have been fucked. Bad. He would have had to take
they are
way early.
saying Pee Wee Roscoe had shot up Lil Wayne's tour bus. I was shocked. Young Thug is saying that. He thought they were friends. Fast forward to today's time, to recent time, Pee Wee Roscoe comes out with a video saying, in his opinion, Young Thug was trying to help him by throwing the police off, by saying Pee Wee Roscoe, Lil Wayne were friends, everybody cool. Okay, let's go back to the tape. Again, the problem is Young Thug and Pee Wee Roscoe, they're not playing the game that police and lawyers are playing. Police are taking that information and saying, okay, Lil Wayne friends with Pee Wee Roscoe. I don't believe that. Let's throw that away. The police say, okay, so Young Thug, you don't really know Pee Wee Roscoe like that. Young Thug says, that's what I said. I don't. They say, okay,
definitely do.
But Pee Wee Roscoe says that you paid him.
Not only that, how you don't know Pee Wee Roscoe like that when you got free Pee Wee or free Roscoe shirts and you selling them, my nigga? This nigga was selling free Roscoe shirts. How you don't know Pee Wee Roscoe but you selling free Roscoe shirts? It ain't. You know when you talking about another Roscoe? What the fuck are we talking? Yo, Young Thug, stop bro. Like, you lying to the cops, it's just making shit worse. Like, come on, my nigga. Like, you over here, like, you over here saying you're trying to help the cop, you're trying to help Pee Wee Roscoe's case. Lying to the cops is not gonna help Pee Wee Roscoe's case. They already know Pee Wee shot the motherfucking tour bus up. They just want confirmation, and they want a motive. And that's what you gave them, basically.
Young Thug says, man, Pee Wee Roscoe ain't said that.
And they try to implement you into the crime. They try to get you charges in Pee Wee Roscoe shenanigans. They ain't motherfucking, like, they literally they told you 5 times we don't gotta talk. And you wanted to talk.
Said, oh, I thought you ain't know.
Wanted to be an idiot.
Young Thug said, write that down. How can you speak to somebody that you don't know? What's going on? Write that down. Young Thug says, I ain't say it. That, like, I'm just saying he wouldn't say that. I just know he wouldn't say that. They said, cool. And that's the information police are looking for. That's why you need a lawyer. They're just fishing for connections. They say, hey, aren't you a part of a gang? Don't you say that in your songs? They know he's gonna say no. He says no. They say, all right, cool. We just thought we'd ask. Birdman, is he part of a gang? Young Thug says no. They said, cool, we just thought we'd ask. Now, all this to say, this is the game that Young Thug and police are playing during this call. At the end of the call, Young Thug says, hey, if y'all want to know any more information, just hit me up. But don't tell people that I spoke to you. And that is very important because it lends credence to the Young Thug snitching allegations. Because whole time he could say, didn't y'all listen to the call? I was trying to throw the police off. I wasn't telling them the truth, which he wasn't. But him telling them, if you need more information, call me. Now you can say another theory. Now you can say Young Thug is thinking, maybe I'll cooperate in the future. Maybe Young Thug having a conversation with police without his lawyer in the first place is to show how quote unquote cooperative he can be. Maybe he's worried about his name being connected to this whole shooting. So he's saying, look, if you get more info, just hit me up first and I'll clear it up for you, which is basically the job of an informant. But I stress that these are just theories. I have no clue as to what was actually going on through Young Thug's head. And he also knows it's absolutely not a good look to be talking to police in the first place. So again, he tells them, look, this conversation stays between us, right? They say, Young Thug, you think we walk around telling people after we broke bread with you, we sat here, we ate with you, we listened to your music, we like this? Fingers crossed. Thug said, okay, we tight. Y'all not gonna tell the world. They said, fingers crossed, we not gonna tell the world. And well, this videotape recently was released. So let's wrap this up and really dig deep into this situation. Listen to this next part closely. Remember, Young Thug has two problems. His jail calls were released and recordings of him speaking to police were released. During the jail calls, he explains why he was upset at Gunna and why he believes Gunna was a snitch. 21 Savage questions that. 21 Savage tells him he does not believe Gunna did the right thing, but he does not think things were personal. Young Thug says, no, Gunna is a snitch. Turns out Young Thug's brother took the same deal as Gunna. In fact, Young Thug encouraged his brother to take that deal, but Young Thug says his brother is not a snitch. A recording of Young Thug is also released where he's speaking to police saying, hey, hit me up later if y'all want some more info, all that. But he says, I am not a snitch.
All around, man.
Gunna is the only snitch in this situation.
Strike out, bro.
It really begs the question, what is a snitch? And the answer is, I don't know. Some people think it's when you talk to police. Some people think if you're a civilian, you can talk to police, you're not a snitch. I don't know. I personally believe the situation is less complicated than that. I think people tend to create their own reality when it suits them. Gunna is a snitch because he hurt me. That's what I think Young Thug is really trying to say. In fact, he says to 21 Savage, Gunna broke my heart. His brother can't be a snitch because he didn't want his brother to go to jail. Young Thug can't be a snitch because in his mind, allegedly, maybe, I'm speculating, that he's trying to trick the police and throw them off. He's shaping his own reality into what's a snitch and what's not a snitch. You know what I mean? But regardless, the overwhelming consensus online is Young Thug called Gunna a snitch. Meanwhile, the whole time he was speaking to police, Young Thug is a hypocrite.
All right. Video's over. I'm going to give my opinion on if Young Thug is a snitch or not, or a rat. Now, like the nigga said in the video, he said, I don't know. The definition of a snitch, there are two definitive definitions of what a snitch is. If you ask any street dude or any gangbanger, real street nigga, what a snitch is, they're going to tell you two things. They're going to tell you, A, it's either cooperating with the police in any form or fashion, even if you don't get a nigga locked up. If you're talking to the cops, giving the cops info, giving the cops names of niggas, even if they're not even locked up, that is snitching. Actively cooperating with the police on anything, even if it's domestic violence, some niggas consider that shit snitching, okay? Number two, and this is the overall like consensus definition. This is like what the mob and shit run they shit by. You know what I'm saying? Second definition, which is like the overall definition, is actively testifying against somebody. Like let's say I commit a crime, me and my man's commit a crime, and they say, yo, we're gonna give you 50 years, but if you tell on so and so, we're gonna give you 10 years. And I tell on so and so and testify on them, I'm snitching. Or if I'm in a gang or I'm in the mob, right? And the cops come to me and they're like, yo, we got information on so and so and so and so and so and so. We about to book everybody. Everybody's gonna get booked. But if you hurry up and give us these niggas' names, give us these so and so's, then you won't get locked up. If you testify against so and so, then you won't get locked. Then I'm snitching. That is snitching. If I'm committing crimes, actively committing crimes, and I'm testifying in court against somebody, so I can get less time or just so I don't get locked up, then that is ratting. That is a snitch. That is an informant. That is what most people don't like. Even civilians. No civilian likes a rat. Okay. Because niggas got to deal with rats at work. Nobody likes a nigga, even at niggas at work. Nobody likes a nigga that always goes to the boss and tells on motherfuckers' business. You know what I'm saying? Nobody likes that shit. So, that being known, Young Thug's main definition of a rat is taking a plea deal. If you take a plea deal against some motherfucker, you're a rat. Or if you talk to the cops, you're a rat. Okay? So, with that being said, is Young Thug a rat? Is Young Thug a snitch? With the first definition of what a snitch is, yes. Cooperating with the police, period, in most people's eyes, is snitching or being a rat. Because the main consensus, well, I don't live by this code at all. I am a civilian. If I see a crime, I'm calling the cops. If something happens in my house, I'm calling the cops, okay? I am a cop caller. I am calling the cops, okay? If there's a situation where the cops can't get called, then I'm just gonna have to defend myself, and whatever happens, happens. Or if I got a motherfucker body in my crib, the motherfucker tried to kill me, and nigga's dead. But I don't live by that code at all. All right, Young Thug does. Young Thug's definition of what a snitch is actively talking to the cops, right? And that's what he did. That is why people on the internet are calling him a rat, calling him a snitch. Me personally, I don't consider people snitches or rats if people didn't get locked up. Now, Young Thug, he said it himself. Young Thug, he didn't help Pee Wee Roscoe, but they couldn't use his case or his interrogation in Pee Wee Roscoe's case. So his interrogation had no effect on if Pee Wee Roscoe got found guilty or not guilty. He ended up taking a plea because the evidence was so overwhelming and it was obvious he did it. So he took a motherfucking plea. So that's his excuse for it. But here's where the hypocrisy starts. Because Gunna did the same thing. The only difference is he wasn't in the fucking 2-hour interrogation video. He just said yes man was in that room for 5 minutes and got sent home. His words weren't used against Young Thug, Yak Gotti, or anybody. Even when Young Thug took his plea deal, him agreeing that YSL's a gang and this, that, and the third wasn't able to be used against Yak Gotti. So in essence, if you're not a rat because your shit wasn't used against Pee Wee Roscoe, then Gunna can't be a rat because his shit wasn't used against you. You can't use the excuse, I wasn't talking to the cops, they tricked me. You can't use the excuse that they tricked you. Gunna can. Young Thug, you cannot sit here and say that the cops tricked you when they asked you 5 times, yo, you don't have to talk to us. And on top of that, at the end of the video, you say, if you want more information, bro, just call me. You can't use that excuse that you got tricked. So you over here trying to be like, yo, I tried to help my mans out. What you didn't at all. You did not help your mans do nothing because A, they didn't even use your shit in his interrogation video. Even if you were trying to help them, they weren't going to use your shit. So you just yapped for no fucking reason. And number 2, he still took a motherfucking plea deal. Number 3, if they didn't use your interrogation in Pee Wee Roscoe's case, Pee Wee Roscoe would have been fucked and you would have been labeled as a guaranteed snitch. Guaranteed snitch. You're lucky they didn't get to use that in his case. But back to the question at hand. Is Young Thug a rat? To me, no. Is to me Gunna a rat? To me, no. Because at the end of the day, they did not. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. I don't live by these rules. These motherfuckers got to live with that for the rest of their life. Young Thug went on a whole motherfucking Twitter rampage calling motherfuckers rats, calling motherfuckers snitches, calling Gunna a rat, this, that, and the third, just for him to have a 2-hour interrogation video. He has to deal with that smoke. He has to deal with that fire. That is not my problem. That is his, okay? That is the hypocrisy that he has to deal with. But at the end of the day, I believe, which doesn't really mean nothing because I'm not a street nigga. My definition of a snitch is somebody that gets somebody else locked up. Like if I say something that so-and-so did so-and-so and he ends up doing 30 years because of my fucking words. That is me being a rat. And Gunna didn't do that. Yak Gotti didn't. Well, Yak Gotti had a 2-hour interrogation video too, I think. But his shit wasn't used against nobody. Lil Duke's shit wasn't used against anybody. You can't, Young Thug, you can't motherfucking sit over here and call these niggas rats when you're doing the same motherfucking shit that they're doing. That's called being a hypocrite. And that is why I am upset. Because you're going on Twitter, instead of dropping music and doing what YFN Lucci did, getting out and shutting the fuck up and just dropping music and making money, you want to go on Twitter and motherfucking diss everybody that you thought did you wrong instead of just letting bygones be bygones, letting business be business, which was your last album, which is what you should have did. Let business be business, do your business. Let Gunna run out his contract, and whether you want to be cool with Gunna is up to you. You don't gotta bash this nigga on Twitter and bash this nigga's whole shit, try to get this nigga blackballed because your feelings got hurt because you thought the nigga ratted. Especially with the interrogation video coming out, you have no reason to be mad at Gunna. Zero reason at all to be mad at Gunna because you was doing this shit in 2015, my guy, before you even found Gunna. So you have no excuse to be mad at Gunna. You have no excuse to be mad at Yak Gotti. You have no excuse to be mad at these niggas at all when you did the same shit that you are accusing these niggas of doing, if not worse, because you had a 2-hour interrogation video voluntarily talking to these niggas. Gunna took a plea deal. Yak Gotti kind of did the same thing Young Thug did. He just went in that bitch was yapping. He didn't get nobody locked up. He was in that bitch yapping, giving up info we didn't have to give up. So, at the end of the day, to me, they not rats. But to everybody else on the internet, and Young Thug's definition of a rat, he's a motherfucking rat. You feel me? Because you can't call Gunna and all these other niggas rats when you're doing the same exact shit that you're mad at them for doing. You can't. That is called being a hypocrite, my nigga. And I don't like hypocrites. I love Young Thug to death. I hope that this blows over, and I hope that we get to the music, because that's all I'm missing from Young Thug. I love Young Thug's music. I love Young Thug as an artist. I don't give a fuck about him trying to portray a street image to me, trying to portray that he's King Slime and all this other shit. It's a cool persona, but I don't give a fuck about it. I give a fuck about the music, and that's what all the fans care about. That's what these rappers don't understand. Rappers, bro. So all the rappers, bro. None of these fans give a fuck that you're the biggest gangster in Atlanta. Only the niggas do. Only some of the real street niggas that listen to your music do. Okay? That makes up a small majority of your fan base. Okay? The large majority of your fan base does not care that you're a street nigga. They just want to hear great music. They just want to hear great motherfucking music. And that's all we want from Young Thug, and yet we're getting all of this bullshit of him talking shit about niggas on the jail call, which means he's probably never going to collab with these niggas again. And on top of that, he's going on the motherfucking Twitter rant, trying to motherfucking move the goalposts on what a rat is, because he's a motherfucking rat. In his definition, he literally ratted, or he did some snitch shit. So he keeps trying to move the goalposts so that niggas keep trying to fuck with him, when she should just be real with himself. He should just apologize to Gunna, apologize to Yak Gotti, apologize to all these niggas that you was talking shit about, and be like, my fault, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 let's let bygones be bygones and make this money. But nah, he doesn't want to do that. His pride is too much. You feel me? But that's enough of me yapping. That's my opinion on it. I don't think they rats, but based on Young Thug's definition, they're all rats, okay? That's my opinion on it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. You gotta replace this fucking camera. This camera keep freezing and shit. I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.